People who study Japanese talk a lot about its most difficult writing system, Kanji, which has over 10,000 contemporary characters, about 2,000 of which are needed to understand everyday Japanese conversations. This is in stark contrast to English, which has a 26-character alphabet which is used to represent almost every word in the language, with a few accented characters appearing in some borrowed words. Today I want to talk about the differences between logographic and alphabetic writing systems, and why logographic systems hurt so much to learn. Hi, welcome to my channel where I talk about things that interest me because that's all I do all the time. Have you ever seen this? This is the word for Russian, written in the Russian alphabet Cyrillic. Someone whose native language uses the Latin alphabet might read this as Pitchkin, but it's actually pronounced Ruski. Most of the languages we learn in school, like Spanish, French, German, and Italian, use the same alphabet, the Latin alphabet. It looks like this, and you'll recognize it because you speak it. Slavic languages like Russian, Bulgarian, and Czech use the Cyrillic alphabet, which is basically the same thing, but the sounds are mapped differently. When you hear someone speaking Russian, you'll recognize most of the phonemes to the point where you could probably do a very good job of writing down what someone is saying in the Latin alphabet. These are two of the most popular alphabets due to these fellas conquering a whole ton of stuff back in the day. Some other alphabets you might recognize are Greek, Armenian, and Hangul, which is it's kind of a hybrid, but it's kind of an alphabet. Outside of Europe and the Middle East, people tend to lean towards other systems, like logographic and syllabary characters, and abogidas, but I don't know anything about those, so I'm just going to skip over that. Chinese has the logographic characters we all know and love, where every kanji represents a different idea rather than a different sound. Japanese splits the difference, sadly, and it sucks really bad, but it looks really cool. Kana, the syllabic writing systems, coexist with kanji, the logographic system borrowed from Chinese. I can write the word cat as neko, neko, or neko. Pitch accent. You can see that I'm trying really hard to keep the pitch accent accurate while also using English language intonations. It's not working very well. The first one here is hiragana, the original Japanese writing system, and the second one is katakana, which is another version that men used to use because it was more rugged and manly. And then the third one is kanji, the borrowed Chinese character. The kanji characters don't always mean what the Chinese character did, and they usually have multiple readings for multiple different associations. When it comes down to it, while it's harder to learn 10,000 characters, it's also more efficient to write. You can fit tons of words into just one or two characters each when you use logographs. Here's a sentence in English, in Japanese, and then in Chinese. In English, most of these words are a few characters long, and the word yesterday is massive. In Japanese, some of these words are just one character, and in Chinese, the whole thing is logographs. They just get rid of the markers and articles that English and Japanese have. The whole sentence is only 6 characters long. Aside from being more efficient than their alphabetical counterparts, they also look cooler. The only alphabetical character worth getting a tattoo of is this weird-looking Cyrillic character that I call amalgamation when it comes up in Keep Talking and Nobody Explodes. So, in Japanese, which is where you're going to hear people whining about learning all these characters, there isn't just one pronunciation of a kanji. Most characters have at least 2 readings, a Japanese kunyomi reading and a Chinese onyomi reading, which is different. Take this kanji, for example. It means big. The kunyomi is used in oki. This is ki and this is i, so in this word, the whole kanji is just pronounced o. However, in the word for college, daigaku, this is gaku, which means that the same character we just read for o is now dai because it's the onyomi. Also, I want to note that adding a little nick up at the top here makes it say inu, which is dog. I just thought that was cool. So that sucks bad. You'd think that a logographic system would at least be more clear about pronunciations, that each one would just have its own sound like you'd expect, but no, it's just as bad as alphabets. Of course, alphabets do this too, especially in Western languages like English and Dutch. Depending on what letters are next to each other, you can make sounds that aren't represented by either of the characters. The O's in the word book make the sound, which doesn't have a letter in English. You'd normally find that written as the O umlaut in German or something. SH makes the sh sound, which doesn't have a letter at all, and is a completely separate phoneme from our other letters. In Dutch, combining OU makes the OW sound like it does in English, even though you normally pronounce the O like O, not A. So obviously, many alphabetical languages don't give a heck about being phonologically consistent at all. And this isn't even to say that alphabets are easier to read. The assumption here would be, oh, since I have to learn the readings for each logograph, it's harder to read. At least I can just read alphabetical words that I don't know, right? You literally can't. Here are 10 words you wouldn't be able to read properly unless you'd heard them spoken aloud beforehand. And don't even get me started about the fact that English has it worse off because of how many other languages influence it. In fact, I am literally not going to get started on it. That's enough linguistics for today. I made my point. Alphabets are just as sucky as logographs, and I'm too busy right now to write more on the subject. By the way, Part of that being busy is due to putting 5 more hours into a Lumacurve video I finally finished up. Find a link to that in the description and a link to another video on the end screen here. Thanks for watching.